So, guys, OpenAI came out with O3, and it was their last announcement in their day 12 or 12 days of shipness. It's powerful, scary. It's once again unpredictable as to what the impact will be. ARC Prize is apparently a benchmark that I didn't know about. So I'm not really close to any of this research, and I could barely understand what this eval means. But it's showing here at some level that O3 is performing at a much higher level in terms of intelligence or what have you, or what we say here in this eval. It's also costing a lot more, which is interesting, exponentially more cost, which is a pretty interesting dilemma to be facing. And I believe Sam Altman also kind of mentioned that today in his tweets, Sama. So he's saying here, seemingly somewhat lost in the noise of today, on many coding tasks, O3 will outperform O1 at a massive cost reduction. I expect this trend to continue, but also that the ability to get marginally more performance for exponentially more money will be really strange. And here it is, score getting higher, etc. I think this is fascinating because a lot of people out there are starting to say that this is AGI. Now, I don't know, honestly, every time people talk about AGI, I get my eyes kind of glaze over because it keeps getting redefined, or it's almost like we make more and more progress and I don't feel it personally. So I don't know how to quite conceptualize it. But I think the anxiety that people feel every time we see these big progress leaps is fascinating, philosophically, existentially. It's like a friend of mine texted me today and was just like, dude, I was already having a bad day and now I get to check in on this AI stuff and it's getting worse, So it makes me think that it is more dire than ever to approach retooling and AI more seriously than ever. Like understanding how it works, understanding what the tools are, understanding how this is all moving forward. I feel good, like I'm in the right place, but at the same time, I don't know where this is all headed. I also have this anxiety about, who's going to have jobs and who won't. I mean, I was looking at Hacker News, and this person on Hacker News said here, I just graduated college. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Let me make that a little bit bigger. I just graduated college and this was a major blow. I studied mechanical engineering and went into sales engineering because I love technology and people, but articles like this do nothing but make me dread the future. I have no idea what to specialize in, what skills I should master, or where I should be spending my time to build a successful career. Seems like we're headed toward a world where you automate someone else's job or be automated yourself. And I get that anxiety. I feel like that's the anxiety of AI from the very beginning that everybody feels. So my approach has been, get deeper into it, because I feel like in order to figure out what this person is having anxiety about is getting to know that as much as possible, which I totally feel. I get it. And every other day, it's like a new tool comes out and you have to adapt to that tool and figure out what that means and how you can actually use it and how that changes your industry and the other people that are working in your industry, how much you can charge for that. It's intense. I think it's interesting what this person said, though, in response. You're going through your studies just as a potentially major new class of tools is appearing. It's not the first time in history, although with more hype this time. Computing, personal computing, globalization, smartphones, Chinese engineering, blah, blah, blah. I'd suggest that you still need to understand your field, and you might as well try and figure out where this new class of tools is useful for your field. Agree. And otherwise, carry on. It's not encouraging from the point of view of studying hard, but the evolution of work the past 40 years seems to show that your field probably won't be your field quite exactly in just a few years. I mean, I agree. Right? Things are changing every day for everybody's field, and I think resisting the change is more detrimental than not. And I really wish, that everybody in the world right now who realizes this, or just everybody, period, starts to think about how they're going to retool. Like, it should be a global crisis. It should be a global movement. And it's crazy that it's not, right? That this is such a big thing that's going to impact so many fields, right? And it's probably, we have like what, like 100, 200 million people on ChatGPT, maybe like another 50, 100 million, 30 or 200 million using other AI products. And of course, they're in Google, etc. But how they're going to impact your job and how you are productive, I feel like needs to be something that governments are impressing upon their people today, not tomorrow. And it makes me wonder about what 25 is going to look like. We have a new administration in the US government with its own technological kind of bent and interest. And we have, there's war out there. There's also like economic, we're still reeling from the economic repercussions of the pandemic. But we have this new thing of AI that is hitting us like a storm. And I wonder what happens with the people who are resisting or not retooling, because it's just going to be, it has to be billions of people have to get up on this right away and have to take this very seriously. And it might be like our heads are on fire, honestly, because it's going to impact less people faster. And then it's going to impact everybody, and we're all going to feel it at some level. And I want everybody to benefit from it. So I don't know, honestly. I hope that you, if you're watching this, are taking it seriously, playing with the tools, applying them to work as much as you can. I know that people are sometimes not getting the most out of them, but I think that that's part of the process, is like getting to know it more so you can use it, right? So, yeah. Worries me a little bit. But I don't think it's unsolvable. I guess I've always been kind of an optimistic person to a certain extent, even though I'm a very cynical person. But I have this hope about the human brain that humanity can, as we shift certain knowledge work and wisdom work and productivity work out of our brains to AI, our brains then are flexible enough to be like, okay, what else can I do with my brain power, my freed up brain power? And that's where I get really optimistic about like the biological brain. And the machine brain is always to some extent going to be led by us, even if it might not feel like that. It might feel like we are subject to the algorithm. But I do feel like in the last 100 years, right, the human philosophy of life has changed so much. We didn't brush our teeth, right, hundreds of years ago. We didn't go to therapy 50 years ago. We didn't understand that what the brain's role in our psychology was. Trauma, maybe even the last 20 years, less than. And so what kind of challenges will AI make to the way that we think about ourselves, and then how do we adapt to that? I feel optimistic about, because although the world is full of strife, the world is sometimes 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. At the same time, it's like humanity has that ability to shift. Generations change. Even older generations are able to adapt. My grandparents all used email, right? They're all 80, 90 years old. So while we have people who are critiquing how the older generations can't keep up, at the same time, they can. And at the same time, yes, we are trapped by our baggage and our trauma from the last 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 years. I do have this fundamental belief that we can meet this moment. I just hope that everybody gets on board faster, because it's staggering what is happening. So those are my thoughts on O3 and the potential for AGI. Now, I don't know if it's AGI. I don't know if, a lot of people making these very outlandish claims, especially people who are like influencers who don't even work in the research space and are like, oh, it's AGI. It's like, all right, I want to hear like Ilya Sutskever say that it's AGI. Then I'll be like, all right, okay, I trust Ilya. I don't trust some influencer who's, someone like me who's got a YouTube and is just like, oh my God, it's AGI. We have to be changing. I think it's already changing. It doesn't have to be AGI for us to take it seriously. So In other case, those are my thoughts on O3, AGI, and all that. Let me know what you think. Thanks for listening.